Hello YouTube friends and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Deidre from our Upcycled Life and I do lots of thrifting, repurposing, upcycling, and DIY content. And we love new crafting friends. So if you'd like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any great DIY content. Today I'm going to show you how you can take a picture frame that's just painted a solid color or wood color and you can make it look chippy and rustic. And it's such an easy technique. Sometimes these picture frames are so ornate and you don't want to sand them and you don't want to do a lot of damage to them. So with this technique, it's really simple. You can get in all those nooks and crannies and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's head out to the shed and I'm going to show you how you can achieve this look. This is a set of 3 picture frames that I picked up at the thrift store. The frames are all painted with what feels like maybe an oil-based paint, and I'm going to make them nice and chippy and distressed looking. I picked them up for $5.99 a piece and they were 50% off, so it's a really great deal. And let's get painting. I'm going to be using my homemade chalk paint recipe, and I've made it with some black paint, and I'm going to put a base coat on all 3 of those picture frames. I've taken the landscape picture out of the middle. It was just stapled in with little nails, so I removed those, and I'm going to paint all 3 frames. I'll put a link down below and up above here in the corner for my homemade chalk paint recipe, and it's really simple and it adheres to any surface, so you don't need any prep or any sanding. And I'm also going to paint over all of these landscape print. These are just prints, they're not actual pictures. And now I've completed all pieces. Now when you're doing these frames, you don't want to use sandpaper or sand too much because it takes away the details. So I like using this packing tape, and I have a Scotch brand that works really well, and I'm going to use some of my candle wax to distress it also. The first thing you want to do is I'm using a pillar candle that I just cut in half so it's a little bit easier to manage, and I'm just going to rub it anywhere on the picture frame where I don't want paint to adhere. And I'm going to do it pretty aggressive because I want a really chippy, distressed look on these frames. And I like using these little candlesticks because it will get in the little corners where you can't with that pillar candle. And you're just going to rub it anywhere where it would naturally, if it had aged, had paint removed. It's really great for getting in these little corners, and it just gives it so much more of an authentic look when you can get in those little places. Whenever I'm out thrifting, I always seem to be drawn to these wooden picture frames, and I love being able to do these types of different painting techniques to just take them to the next level to make them look really nice in your home decor. I'm doing really neutral colors today, just black and white, but you could use some really funky colors and layer up this paint with this technique and it would look fabulous. Now I've got my white homemade chalk paint, and I'm going to paint right over that black paint and right over that candle wax that I just rubbed on in all those little nooks and crannies on that frame. And again, this is the same recipe as what I made with the black paint. Really simple, easy to make, and a lot more affordable than buying the store-bought, and it works just as good for me. And I'm not using any sort of technique when I'm painting these frames. I just kind of slop it on sometimes because you just kind of want to have that aged look to it. And if it has a little drip here and there or a little spot where you've missed, that just makes it look even better. Okay, I'll finish painting that first one, and you can see I've kind of not put paint in every little corner. Some I've left a little black peeking through, and I'm going to work away on these other 2 frames. And I'm also going to paint the middle pieces. I'm going to put a little bit of wax on them also, and then paint with the white chalk paint. And I'm going to use the packing tape now, and it just, when you put it on top of that white chalk paint with the wax underneath, when you press down that packing tape into that paint and then you tear it off, it will take little bits of the paint here and there and just give it that really cool kind of distressed look. Now I'm having a little bit of an issue today because it is really humid here, like really humid. It's almost 100 degrees and that tape is not sticking very well. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit, but it does work very well if the humidity is not high. I'm just taking my scraper and just pressing that packing tape right into that paint and getting it adhered to that wax. So when I pull it off, you're going to see it leaves an amazing texture on that paint. And like I said, if it wasn't so humid today, I would have probably a lot better results, but you'll see how well it works in the end if you just be patient and just kind of work away with this technique. Sometimes when you're doing these projects, it doesn't turn out exactly how you want it to because you can't control the weather, but I think it turned out really cool. And you can see some of the paint that it's pulled off on that packing tape and exposed a little bit of that black underneath, and it just gives it a really nice old look. I love using this technique on frames that are really ornate. You can't get into all those little corners with the sandpaper, and you don't want to because you don't want to sand down any of that detail of the frames. So using this, you don't destroy any of the wood, but you're still getting that distressed look. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever used this technique with the packing tape and how it worked out for you. Okay, I've finished up with the packing tape, and now to do a little bit more detail, I'm just going to take the side of my scraper and just lightly scrape away some of that white paint where there was any wax left that didn't come off with the packing tape. And again, that will leave a really cool kind of distressed look on the frame. And you don't want to apply too much pressure to scrape into that wooden frame. You're just trying to remove that top layer with the wax. And I'm just going to keep working away at it until I get to the desired look that I like. Now that I'm all finished using the packing tape and the little scraper, I'm going to take a Scotch pad and just lightly sand the whole frame, and that will take any rough edges away. It's not going to sand down much. It's just going to kind of give it a nice smooth finish. And I'm just going to work away on these other two frames. And I have the 3 frames all finished, and I'm really happy with the way they turned out. They look so chippy and distressed, but I haven't taken away any of that detail of the actual frame by sanding it down with any coarse sandpapers. I've just done it with the packing tape and with a scraper. Now I'm going to get the insides of the frames ready, and I'm going to scrape them down and distress them, and I'm going to use these really beautiful botanical prints that I got from the graphic fairy to put in the middle of them. To do these graphics, I'm going to use my Mod Podge mat and do my reverse graphic transfer method. I love using this, and I have lots of full tutorials on my channel. I'll put a link up above here and down below if you'd like to try it out, so you can have a full detailed tutorial step by step. My frames and my prints are all finished, and I like to seal everything with a water-based polyacrylic sealer, and it just makes everything pop also when you put this on top. It brings out the little distressed edges and seals it really well for dusting. And I'm loving the way these turned out, and I'm obsessed with these botanical prints. I think they look fabulous with these distressed frames. So if you're out thrifting and you find some frames or you have some in your stash, give this technique a try because it works fantastic. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to read them. I'll be sharing so many more DIY, thrifting, repurposing videos, so if you aren't already following along, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that will let you know when I upload my next video. See you real soon. Take care and have a great day.